Sean Combs has a pattern, and with all three of them, the stories are a little different, but the pattern's always the same.
The case involving Sean Diddy is difficult to categorize as simply exciting, intriguing, or exhausting. However, one thing is sure, it is certainly making headlines. It's startling to see someone once regarded as so influential now in a situation where his power offers no advantage. Recently, Diddy's prison drama continues with 3 new boys speaking out. How many others are there, and what did these boys reveal? Join us in this video as we dive into the specifics. 3 new boys speaks out against Sean Diddy Combs. CNN has reported that more than 30 lawsuits have already been filed against Sean Combs, accusing him of molestation and mistreatment. Just last week, 3 anonymous lawsuits were filed by men alleging that Combs drugged their drinks and subsequently mistreated them. Combs' attorney has responded to these allegations, stating that the claims are, quote, like full of lies. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all federal charges brought against him. Thomas Jufra, the attorney representing the 3 most recent accusers, discussed the allegations with CNN. He emphasized that the accounts of his clients mirror those of other accusers, noting whenever you have a serial abuser, they follow a pattern. Harvey Weinstein had a pattern. Sean Combs has a pattern. While the details may differ, the pattern is always the same. According to Jufra, Combs had a pattern. Come into my orbit, have a drink, feel woozy, take a rest, and wake up to being sodomized. He continued, this pattern was consistent across every story shared with us. Jufra cited one instance in which one alleged victim regained consciousness to hear Combs declare, I'm almost done, while keeping him still when asked what struck him as the most noteworthy aspect of the victim's testimonies. That recollection was powerful and deeply striking, Jufra said. He also remarked on Combs' conceit and entitlement in these reports, which had a profound effect on him. When questioned about why his clients chose to file anonymously, Jufra explained, each of them was threatened with physical harm following the mistreatments. They were told, if you do anything, it won't be good for you. These threats were very real, especially for one client who knew Combs and his associates from the neighborhood and understood the danger wasn't empty. Jufra continued, these men are not just lawyers sitting in offices, they are individuals capable of following through on their threats, making life hell, and causing physical harm. My clients were genuinely terrified. Regarding the possibility of his clients revealing their identities, Jufra stated, if it comes to that, it will be a discussion we'll have. However, in my view, as someone representing abuse survivors, the law should allow accusers to remain anonymous, but that decision is left to judges. It's another tool abusers use to intimidate their victims. He added that neither he nor his clients have been contacted by federal authorities, likely because the lawsuits were only filed recently. All of the charges have been refuted by Sean Combs, who has called them false. Speaking on the defense plan, Jufra clarified they'll say these are fakes, a financial shakedown. What more are they able to do? His only defense while incarcerated in Brooklyn on similar charges is to disparage those who are suing him. Jufra noted that these cases are distinct because all of the alleged victims are guys. He emphasized that men are the victims of only 9% of mistreatment cases that are recorded in the United States. It is as hard for males as it is for women to come forward, Jufra contended. Speaking up against molestation is never easy because it takes away one's authority. The essence of molestation is the loss of power, he concluded, stressing the value of empathy and providing a secure environment for victims to tell their story. Helping survivors find their voice requires patience and understanding because talking about such memories and exhibits can be very difficult. The increase of lawsuits and accusations against Sean Diddy Combs seems to be endless as new claims against him surface at an alarming rate. However, with these latest allegations, one pressing question arises. What is the story of these new male accusers? Stay tuned to uncover the full story. The story behind the traumatic experience faced by the new accusers. According to BBC News, the lawsuits were filed in the New York Supreme Court and described the incidents that allegedly took place between 2019 and 2022. 2 of the plaintiffs alleged that they attended parties hosted by Mr. Combs, where he personally offered them alcoholic drinks. According to their claims, the drinks rendered them unconscious and they later woke up to discover they had been mistreated. Mr. Combs' legal team has strongly denied the accusations, describing the lawsuits as full of lies. In a statement to the BBC, his lawyers declared, "We will prove these claims to be false and seek sanctions against every unethical lawyer who filed these fictional allegations against him." These lawsuits add to the more than 30 legal complaints that have been brought against Mr. Combs, many of which have molestation claims that go back to the 1990s. The 3 new plaintiffs' lawyer, Thomas Jufra, told the BBC that around 60 people had approached his office with allegations against Mr. Combs. Following a thorough investigation into these claims, Mr. Jufra's team determined that there was enough evidence to move forward with all 3 instances. An unknown plaintiff known only as John Doe claims in one of the recently filed lawsuits that Sean Diddy Combs mistreated him after they met at the Marquee nightclub in New York in 2019. The lawsuit claims that John Doe went to a private after-party with Mr. Combs and about 10 other people. The complaint claims that Mr. Combs personally offered him a cocktail during the event. He started to feel confused shortly after drinking the beverage, and Mr. Combs allegedly took note of his condition, stating that he is ready to party. The plaintiff claims he blacked out but recalls brief moments of consciousness during which he noticed a man and a woman recording as Mr. Combs mistreated him. The next morning, the plaintiff alleges that the man and woman who had been recording the mistreatment handed him approximately $2,500, explaining that the money had come from Mr. Combs. The second unnamed plaintiff asserts that he attended a gathering at Mr. Combs' East Hampton estate during the summer of 2020. He claims that after consuming alcohol supplied by Mr. Combs, he started to lose his ability to remain conscious. While drifting in and out of awareness, he alleges that Mr. Combs, along with others affiliated with Bad Boys Entertainment, took turns mistreating him. Another anonymous individual contends that he first met Mr. Combs in 2006 and subsequently began working for him. In his account, the plaintiff claims that in February 2020, he arranged to meet Mr. Combs at a hotel to address issues regarding unpaid wages. He claims that Mr. Combs made him a drink during this meeting, which he believes was tampered with. He claims that after losing consciousness, he woke up to see that Mr. Combs was mistreating him. The lawsuit says that Mr. Combs told him that he would look like a fool if he reported the event to the police, and that no one would believe what he said. It's obvious that the case against Diddy has generated strong feelings, and many people are hoping for a speedy conclusion to prevent more controversy. So, what's the latest update on the Sean Diddy Combs trial? Let's dive in and see what's happening, Dot. The alleged extension of Sean Diddy's trial. The criminal trial proceedings for Sean Combs have begun, but it seems that the defense and prosecution are at disagreement over a number of important deadlines for information disclosure and argument presentation. One of the more controversial aspects of Combs' prosecution is not the charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, or any scandalous accusations involving baby oil, escorts, or wild behavior, but rather the trial date itself, which is still scheduled for May 5th, 2025. Given the volume of evidence in this case and the complexity of a racketeering conspiracy case, it is extremely premature for someone who was arrested in September and is facing federal charges to have a trial date set for May 5th, 2025, little over 7 months later. Despite consistently losing their requests for pretrial release, Combs' legal team apparently used this point when they were still trying to challenge his bond. After all, rather than letting the defendant wait years in a detention center for his court date, the burden of proof rests with the prosecution to prove their case and bring it to trial. While it's understandable that Combs' team might want to expedite the trial, one can't help but question whether the trial date will remain in place, given the multitude of issues at hand. Although it appears that Sean Diddy Combs may not emerge victorious, it seems he could potentially bring others down with him. A well-known celebrity has become associated with Diddy's latest legal case. Who is the celebrity in question? Let's discover. Jennifer Lopez name involved in Diddy's recent lawsuit. According to the Michigan Department of Corrections, Cardello Smith is currently serving a lengthy prison sentence at a correctional facility. In 1998, he was convicted on 2 counts of third-degree sexual conduct, but after being paroled, prosecutors allege he committed further sexual offenses. In 2008, Smith was convicted on 6 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct and 2 counts of kidnapping, to which he pleaded no contest. Then in 2019, he was convicted on 4 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct. According to the Department of Corrections, his earliest release date is set for 2036. Over the years, Smith has appealed all his convictions, maintaining that he was falsely accused of sexual mistreatment in 1998, claiming that police set him up. In his filing against Sean Combs, Smith also alleges a conspiracy, claiming that Detroit police covered up his sexual mistreatment at Combs' direction. This is not even the most bizarre claim in the lawsuit. On December 9th, Smith filed a notice submitting material witnesses, naming 3 individuals: New York police officer Derek Palmer, former Combs employee Kirk Burrows, and pop superstar Jennifer Lopez, who dated Combs from 1999 to 2001. Cardello Smith states his intention to call Officer Palmer as a witness, explaining that Palmer was the one who interrogated Jennifer Lopez and is convinced that Palmer's testimony could be beneficial to his case. One of the most memorable and headline-making moments of their relationship occurred in December 1999. When Combs, Lopez, Combs' bodyguard Anthony Wolf Jones, and rapper Jamal Shine Barrow were involved in an altercation at a New York City nightclub, which escalated into gunfire. All 4 were arrested after leaving the club in a car which was stopped by police for running a red light. A gun was found in plain view inside the vehicle, and it was later discovered to have been reported stolen from Georgia. None of the individuals in the car had a license for the weapon. The charges against Lopez were dropped, and after a trial, Combs and his bodyguard were acquitted. Shine, however, was found guilty of criminal possession of a weapon and first-degree mistreatment. He was acquitted of attempted murder and served nearly 9 years for his charges. Shine later claimed that Combs was the one who actually fired the shots and that he took the fall for him. Returning to Cardello Smith's filing, his notice states that Jennifer Lopez will be called as a material witness and expert regarding Combs' alleged possession and distribution of a molestation video involving the plaintiff from 1997. Smith claims that Combs ordered Lopez to remain silent about the video, which allegedly captured Smith's molestation by Combs. According to Smith, Lopez, who was in a relationship with Combs, was aware of the existence of the video, which was recorded at Combs' New York residence and recording studio. Smith further claims that Lopez knew the video existed but did nothing to alert law enforcement, even after being questioned by New York police. Jennifer Lopez, being a billionaire, risks jeopardizing her reputation if she chooses to associate with Diddy at this moment, as she could face the consequences alongside him. Whether Jennifer Lopez's involvement is genuine remains uncertain, yet a question lingers. How true is the story of Cardello Smith? Stay tuned to learn more. Cardello Smith awarded $100 million in default judgment against Sean Diddy Combs. The BBC News reports that a man who filed a lawsuit against American rapper Sean Diddy Combs over alleged sexual mistreatment has been awarded $100 million by default after Combs failed to respond. Derek Lee Cardello Smith, age 51, alleged that Combs drugged and sexually mistreated him during a party in Detroit, Michigan in 1997. Combs' legal team has denied the allegations, accusing Cardello Smith of perpetrating fraud on the court and informing the BBC that the rapper intends to contest the judgment. The award was granted by Judge Anna Marie Anzalone of the Lenawee County Circuit Court after Combs failed to attend a hearing scheduled for September 9 regarding the case. The Detroit Metro Times, a local newspaper, reported that Cardello Smith encountered Combs in the 90s while working in Detroit's restaurant and hospitality sector. Courts typically issue default judgments when defendants fail to respond to lawsuits. Combs and his attorneys informed the BBC that they were unaware of the lawsuit, claiming that Combs had not been properly served with notice. They stated their intention to seek the annulment of the judgment issued. Cardello informed the court that Combs had recently proposed a $2.3 million settlement to withdraw the lawsuit, an offer he declined. He also stated that he remains acquainted with Combs and presented evidence, including documents showing Combs' name in a prison visitation log. Cardello Smith contended that his concerns for both his own safety and the safety of his family were primary factors in his delayed reporting of the alleged incident, asserting that this justification should take precedence over any concerns related to the statute of limitations, which might otherwise render these claims time-barred. He also argued that during his time in prison, both fellow inmates and prison guards had issued threats against him on behalf of Sean Combs. However, Combs' attorney Mark Agnafilo refuted these claims in a statement to the BBC, asserting that the rapper never had any association with Cardello Smith. The latest allegations against Cardello Smith deliver a significant setback to Diddy's case. The pressing issue now is how Diddy will respond to this situation. Stay tuned to discover more. Diddy seeks legal sanctions against Cardello Smith allegations. Sean Diddy Combs has filed a lawsuit against Derek Lee Cardello Smith. As reported by In Touch through court records, the 55-year-old music mogul and his legal representatives are urging a federal judge to throw out the case and penalize Derek, describing the allegations as unfounded and part of a persistent pattern of harassment. Diddy's counsel cited Derek's criminal past, claiming that he is serving a decades-long sentence and accusing him of abusing the judicial system for harassment and extortion. The legal team emphasized that Derek has a history of filing multiple nearly identical lawsuits against Diddy, which they claim are entirely fabricated. To avoid these ongoing legal attacks, Diddy has asked the court to prohibit Derek from filing new lawsuits without prior judicial authorization, and to order him to reimburse Diddy's legal expenditures. They also claim that Derek's previous cases have been dismissed as lacking merit, with multiple courts labeling his attempts as vexatious litigation. Nonetheless, Derek has continued to submit claims, the most recent of which involves the alleged 1997 events. Although Diddy's team may have authorized actions against Cardello Smith, this does not alter the reality that the lawsuit might not work in Diddy's favor. What lies ahead for Diddy? Let's uncover the details. What lies ahead for Sean Diddy Combs? As per a source, Diddy is said to be back in protective custody, reportedly avoiding prison food due to fears that individuals might be targeting him. Notably, this is the same detention facility where Jeffrey Epstein allegedly took his own life. Diddy is deeply anxious about his safety in prison, which explains his 6-month-long effort to secure bail. His situation appears to be worsening, with reports indicating that those he secretly recorded are now seeking retaliation. If Diddy chooses to cooperate with federal authorities, it could lead to the downfall of some of the nation's most influential and powerful figures. At this stage, Diddy's legal team is attempting to persuade him to accept a plea deal, as the volume of evidence amassed against him makes it virtually impossible to avoid the consequences. Furthermore, Diddy has already admitted to engaging in illegal activities at his parties. Over 50 witnesses, along with hundreds of hours of footage gathered from Diddy's Miami mansion, have been presented as evidence. Criminal defense attorneys assert that Diddy's only remaining option is to confess. For years, P. Diddy has operated with immunity, building his own empire where he sets the rules, and anyone who doesn't adhere to them faces repercussions. Now, in a federal prison for the first time in his life, he is confronted with the reality of his fate, determined by someone else. 90% of federal criminal indictments are resolved through plea deals, and of the remaining 10%, 90% of those defendants who proceed to trial on serious charges lose. As a result, Diddy may be facing a difficult and challenging fight against these severe allegations. One of the DHS agents who participated in the raid at Diddy's Miami mansion provided a description of what he encountered inside the house, noting that the women involved in these incidents were young, either just above or just below the legal age. The federal prosecutors would not be bringing forward an indictment of this magnitude unless they had strong evidence and valid reasons to do so. The central issue in this case, which the feds appear to be able to prove, is that P. Diddy essentially had control over these women and threatened them. Sean Diddy's legal situation is certainly generating a lot of media attention. What are your thoughts on the recent lawsuit? Do you believe the accounts being presented are factual or fabricated? Or do you share your thoughts? In the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. And see you there.